Boom! Straight into the message, meat and potatoes, not even ranting. We already talk about it. We're already in the topic. Right now, straight, boom, bang, bam! Right, straight, message, content. Let's go. See, when you want to understand the psychology of yourself, of people around you, of groups, of society, of politics, of politicians, of politics, global level, past, present, future, look no further. It's all condensed already and described in mythology, in ancient stories and fairy tales. You know, in German it's called Schneewittchen. I think the English name is Cinderella. It's with this evil queen. She says, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most beautiful in the whole country, something like that. And this is a representation of malicious envy, of a female narcissist. And Cinderella is just an innocent child that is very beautiful and not competitive at all. She just want to breathe and live. But this narcissistic queen can't bear that there is someone who's more beautiful than she is, because she is competitive. She compares herself to others, which is a mistake and a problem in the first place. Yet she is in a place of power, just like narcissistic psychopaths tend to be, because they're entitled to rule the world. And I find it just interesting that in these hundreds of years old stories, thousands of years old stories, there is already all this stuff described, okay? So this narcissistic queen coerces the competitive thinking onto Cinderella, and Cinderella has to accept it, has to become competitive in defense too. And that's insane. We can go much further, all right? I said meat and potatoes, not only potatoes. This is just potatoes. So in the Bible, in Genesis, Adam and Eve, the Garden Eden is not the wild, it's not the world out there, it's not the real world. No, God was parenting his kids, his children. He did not tell them the fairy tales. The fairy tales would be too brutal. Why are fairy tales so brutal? Because they contain the knowledge of good and evil. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God does not tell it to his children. No fairy tales. Fairy tales are very brutal and savage, because this is humanity. We have 1 to 5% dark pentagram personalities, okay? This is why fairy tales and mythological stories of the Greek and the Vikings and the old Mesopotamians are so violent. This is human nature, this human psyche. No, God didn't tell them. He parented them. He gave them a place to be children, innocent, and not knowing about the dangers and the truth. But the snake comes, and you might think, okay, the snake is between them and triangulating. No. The snake represents evil, and Adam represents good, because Adam is God's, is created in God's image. And Eve gets this very sad role to triangulate, you know. So the snake speaks to Eve, and then Eve communicates to the snake and to Adam. And this means Eve triangulates. And The result is that they leave this infantile state of being parented and go into a more mature state of being, but a more uncomfortable state of being, because now they know about good and evil. They experience negative emotions, okay? Eve let the snake in the garden and she eats from the tree, and she also seduces Adam to do so. And when God asks Adam, why did you do it? He blames Eve. So he don't take responsibility. So they experience negative emotions, blame, guilt, responsibility, and so on. And that means now they live in the real world. They are not immature children anymore. Okay, but what else is there? I made a video about the Tower of Babylon, okay, which can be seen as also an infantile state of naivety, of harmony, of paradise, because of there is something in the background that parents you, that takes care of everything, but also at the same time keeps away reality from you. So you're living in a fantastic state of protection, and you build up an ego, a persona. You build the Tower of Babylon, and you fall in love with it more and more, and you get this hybris, and at some point it has to fall. And then you wake up with a shattered personality in the real world, in the harsh reality, where there is hostile voices, where there's strangers, where things you don't understand, things that are your enemy, where is a lot of division. Reality, mature state of being. You need to be parenting yourself. You need to be a warrior. You're not a child. There's not this la la land harmony anymore, okay? Alright, but today I want to hone in on the story of Greek mythology, which is full of stories. And they already have a description, can you believe it, of a narcissistic family cult, including family dynamics, alright? And I'm talking about the maze of the Minotaurus, the Minotaur. Alright, so what happens in this story is that a Greek goddess is having a desire to, a sexual, lustful desire to be in unity with a bull, a beautiful bull, archetype, a symbol of masculinity. But it would be very shameful to and wrong. Everybody knows it, but she can't resist it, and she doesn't care basically. And she finds a crafty way using Daedalus' skill to fulfill her wish. And the result is a lot of shame for her father. Her father is angry and understands that they have to hide all of this in a maze under the palace, under the facade of the pseudo-mutual family picture. It shows that it's a dysfunctional family now. It's a pseudo-mutual family that has to maintain a facade of normality and basically a fake facade. Under this facade there is a lot of repressed shame. So originally, I don't know the name of her, this goddess that did it. I can't remember it at the moment. I think it's Persephone, maybe Persephone, who did that. She don't feel the shame. She represses shame, just like a narcissist would, okay? She don't feel it. She is just focused on this goal of this lustful goal, so she's a somatic narcissist. And because she don't feel the shame creates something, a monster, the Minotaur. The Minotaur is an infantile, innocent monster. Okay? He is the fruit of this sin, of this weakness of flesh. And he is the representation of the shadow, of trauma. Because, again, he's innocent because he is just the fruit of this, the result of that. But the shame is there, and Persephone does not feel it, so it switches to him. But he is nothing but trauma itself. And trauma means that trauma goes to the subconsciousness, but it controls the behavior. So this is why he is infantile and innocent, but a monster at the same time, because the behavior of the Minotaur is very hostile, and because he has only trauma as a basis, only repressed shame and anxiety as a basis of his behavior, but he's unaware of everything. So he projects this shadow onto everybody he sees. So the Minotaur sees a monster in everybody and has to kill and devour everybody. He is a living shadow, so to speak. He is the expression of all negativity you could think of already. Alright, now he lives in a maze under the facade of this royal family. He must be hidden and kept secret, because where to go with this shame? The shame arrives the king who tries to hide all of this, and he feels the shame. Okay, every time they have to sacrifice life force to the Minotaurus, just like in the narcissistic family cult. The narcissistic family cult consumes a lot of life force from healthy, functional human beings in order to keep the facade, the pseudo-mutual facade, intact, okay? To regulate the dysregulated personalities within this family dynamic externally. So they consume the life force of others. And this happens in this story. Isn't that amazing? And it makes the king ashamed, because he feels it. He is not dysfunctional, so to speak, but it kills him. Because in this story, at some point, he believes that there is no solution for it, because there's a misunderstanding. And thus, he jumps out of the window into his death. Yeah. So, it's absolutely amazing that these deep psychological drama or constellations are already conserved and expressed in ancient stories, thousands of years old. Another example is the Yggdrasil. I talked about it already. The tree of life in the Norse mythology. On top of it sits an eagle, and on the roots there is the dragon, a nidhogg, or a snake. Feasting of the life force, okay, undermining the life force of the tree of life. But this is a circle that belongs together. And I see in this dragon that is undermining the life force. I see this as a covert narcissist, and the eagle on top is rather, you can call it an intuitive introvert or an intuitive extrovert, doesn't matter. It's the counterpart to that. And in the middle runs the squirrel with the unspeakable name and triangulates these both, creating discord in the world, division and war. And the squirrel, funny, has sociopathic, psychopathic traits. It's curious, indifferent, crafty, and opportunistic. All right? So it's the first triangulation in human history, but it's already there. So when you work in the field of psychology, when you think about anything, when you want to describe anything, when there is a question you can answer it, it's all there already. Okay? You will find it. It's already in myth, in fairy tales, in old ancient texts. I have not even started talking about the ancient Mesopotamian epics like the story of Gilgamesh. And the Greek stories are so rich, and all of them represent a part of the human psyche. It's absolutely interesting. It's all already there. The Norse mythology is so rich and is so multi-layered. Believe me, everything, all the descriptions is already there. It's just waiting to be unlocked, deciphered. And yeah, I was just telling you the concepts of modern psychology about malicious envy, about triangulation, about a precursor of the Cartman's drama triangle, about narcissistic family cult, the maze with the Minotaurus, repressed shame. It's amazing. It's modern concepts that just are evolving, but we have 1,000-year-old representations in mythology. This is also why Carl Gustav Jung was obsessed with studying mythology. This is the reason why mythology and fairy tales are so brutal at times, because this is human nature. Okay, I just wanted to share this with you so you understand your own fascination with these stories. Why can you relate to it? Why is it so fascinating? It's because these are universal archetypal stories that represent part of our psyche. Even probably something that I claim to exist, and that is like the collective subconsciousness, collective trauma. And when we are doing crazy thesis, let me come up with another crazy thesis. And that is, if we think that collective subconsciousness is, when you go, you have consciousness, you have subconsciousness, and when you go even deeper, there is a kind of collective subconsciousness that we share that connects us with other people, with other people's experiences, with our ancestors' experiences. Epigenetics is a biological equivalent to this, okay? So when we think about this, let's go and switch to, the archetype of Yeshua, Jesus, is also interesting, but I'm not going into this now. I'm going to the Übermensch of Nietzsche. Nietzsche was confronted with nihilism. He understood that nihilism is the greatest danger of man, and he tried to find a solution. His solution was the Übermensch. So let's say the Übermensch is an archetype that is not yet fully described and discovered. So in the same way there is a collective subconsciousness, maybe also a collective trauma of mankind, a collective shadow, maybe there is undiscovered archetypes that are waiting to be embodied and discovered by us. So the Übermensch could be a culmination of all the positive traits of all archetypes. When we say the sage, the healer, the warrior, the king, and so on, it's a culmination, accumulation, the eternal child, but all the positive sides of it, all right? I'm just giving you this idea. Think about it or not. I'm done. I'm done today. I'm so done. I'm just going home now. All right. So do with the message what you want. I hope you like meat and potato. I'm not doing vegetarian messages, and I should stop talking right now, because otherwise I might get some hostile replies, and I want to be agreeable, very agreeable, very... Okay, I stop talking now.